Pricing your service in the beginning is one of the most challenging parts about starting your own business, but in today's video, we're going to talk through a great way to price your service if you're just starting out, as well as when you need to go up on those prices and how to know when it's time. And if you stick around until the end, I'm also going to give you a secret technique for raising your prices on existing customers without losing them, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. But my buddy Aaron is doing a free web class tonight going over how he scaled his business from zero to over $200,000 a year with one truck and no money. In the free web class, he's going to give you 3 secrets that allowed him to do this, so that way you can implement those things into your business and do the same. There are a limited number of seats though, so if there is any available, you can register with the first link in the comment section and the description, but once those are gone, they are gone. Also, QuoteIQ is giving away an F-150 this week to a premium, platinum, or ultimate subscriber, so if you need help keeping up with customers, sending estimates, invoices, or collecting payments, check out QuoteIQ. It'll be the second link in the comment section and the description. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into the topic of today's video. I'm going to be reading you guys a question that came in on my Instagram, which is Forever Self-Employed. So if you guys have any good questions about your business or anything going on in your business, send those over there. I don't usually get to a lot of messages on Instagram because I am pretty busy. However, I do read a lot of them, and if it's a good question, I will answer it in a video like I'm doing today. He says, I have a question. I'm starting a pressure washing business tomorrow. How do I know when to increase my prices? Starting out $50 an hour, then when do I increase? So first things first, I want to talk about pricing your service in the beginning. I think hourly is a great way to go. This is actually how I started my own business. I would go to the property, I would walk it with the homeowner, I would take pictures, and then I would go back home and I would say, you know, how many hours is this going to take me? Kind of going through the pictures, looking at, you know, all the trouble spots on the job, kind of going over what they told me. And then based on how much time I think it would take, I would multiply that times whatever I wanted my hourly rate to be. So in this instance, this guy's going with a $50 hourly rate. I think that's perfectly fine whenever you're first starting. So if the job seems like it's going to take 5 hours, he knows that he needs to charge $250. Now, this is on the lower end for pressure washing. I will say that a lot of people are going to be much higher than this, especially people that have established businesses. However, it's going to actually take you longer being a new person in the industry, having lesser equipment, not having the same chemical knowledge and the knowledge of some of the processes. So I think that sounds about right. If you guys want more information on equipment, chemicals, how to use them, how to clean every surface on a residential job site, all the stuff that's going to help you to actually do these jobs quicker, I will leave a link down below for how to wash as well. That course is going to walk you through everything you need to know in order to operate your business efficiently and effectively on site. It's like over 6 hours of content. You get all the updates and everything. So I'll just leave that down below. However, pricing your service in the beginning, especially for pressure washing, is perfect using an hourly rate. Like I said, take pictures, take a look at them, and then send that customer over an estimate based on how much time you think their job is going to take, multiplied by whatever hourly rate you've chosen. Now, the reason I don't like to give prices on site is because for me, whenever I was first starting, it was just kind of a weird thing. It was a little bit awkward. I didn't want to give a face-to-face price, and I wanted enough time to not make any kind of like a rash decision on it. I was afraid of really underbidding in those circumstances because I didn't have a lot of time to think through everything. I was really trying to just ask the customer questions, get to know them. But that's what I would advise with regards to quoting your first couple jobs. Another pro tip for you guys, if you're just starting your business, you really should try and go meet up with these homeowners, just like I did whenever I first started my business. This is going to help you to develop a relationship with them. You're going to be able to upsell to other things as well. Like if you notice the back patio is dirty, if you notice the concrete is dirty, you can just ask them on site, like, hey, did you guys want to go ahead and get a quote on this while we're here, while we're taking care of this? So it makes it a lot easier to upsell, as well as you're going to get a good idea for some of the questions that you need to be asking whenever you're on site with these customers, and that way you're able to better prepare yourself for future situations and scenarios whenever you're kind of quoting remotely, which is what we do now. So like I said, nowadays we quote based on a square footage price. We essentially use QuoteIQ, we measure the property, and then from those measurements we multiply those times our square footage price, which ultimately gives us our price. We then send the estimate over to the customer, and we try to do this as quickly as possible, which is something that you guys could do in the beginning, and it's going to give you a competitive advantage with customers who really value speed to the quote and getting the job done as quickly as possible. That's what we found. We like to take advantage of that. We have a higher lead flow into our business, so we're able to kind of quote quicker and maybe lose people that don't necessarily get that personal touch with us. So you can quote 2 ways. You can go in person or you can quote remotely. You can also quote based on hourly, or you can quote based on square footage. However, you can obviously do it however you want. Now, when do we raise price? That's kind of the next question that we're going to get into. 2 things are going to determine this, when you should raise price. First and foremost is going to be our close ratio. Now, within QuoteIQ, we specifically stuck the close ratio here because it's a very valuable statistic that you need to be keeping an eye on in your business. And QuoteIQ actually automatically tracks the close ratio based on estimates sent and estimates accepted and estimates declined. So there's no extra work within the app for you to actually track this number. It's just going to give you that number on your dashboard analytics along with a bunch of other analytics as well. well. So just a couple good rules of thumb for you guys. If your close ratio is higher than 80%, I would say that you're leaving money on the table. And what this means is out of 10 quotes you send, you're actually landing more than 8 of them. And what you're kind of saying here is your prices are so low that pretty much everybody says yes. And so in that instance, you're going to be leaving money on the table. Now, if your close ratio gets any lower than 30%, then you're pretty much wasting leads at that point. So your customer acquisition, like you're losing out on too many people. So you're maximizing on the money that you're making, but you're losing out on potential business as well. So I would say, in my personal opinion, to keep your close ratio around 40 to 70%, I think would be a really good mix for some guys. Now, if you're new to business, you want to keep that as high as possible, because whenever I was first starting, I was just passing out flyers in neighborhoods, and I would have to basically pass out flyers until I would land a job. So every person that wanted to get a quote from me, I pretty much wanted to go ahead and land that person, or else I was going to have to continue passing out flyers. So if you find yourself in a situation like that, then it's better to have a much higher close ratio. However, the second way that we know we need to raise our prices is the amount of lead flow that we have coming into our business. So the more lead flow that we have, the higher the price that we can charge, because we can basically afford to lose out on some customers. So when the amount of leads coming into your business month over month exceeds the amount of available time on the schedule to service them, your prices need to increase. And one way that you guys can track this within QuoteIQ is on the dashboard analytics. We're actually going to break down for you where your customers are coming from based on the data that you're putting into the CRM. And from that data, it's going to show you where they're coming from, as well as how many you've imported over whatever the time span that you've targeted. So typically it's set to the past 30 days. So you can quickly take a look at that and you can say, okay, we've imported 5, 10, 100 different leads over the past 30 days, and that's going to give you a good idea of where your lead flow is at for that month, and you can kind of track that month over month, because lead flow into your business is one of the most important metrics. That's how we acquire new customers. And depending on your close ratio, if we put 100 people in and we're closing at a 50% close ratio, that means that we're getting 50 new paying customers. So a couple of the things that determine whether or not we need to raise our price is close ratio and the amount of lead flow that are coming into our business. But if you're just starting your business, I don't want you to worry about raising your prices. You should really keep an eye on your close ratio, and then all the extra time, all the extra mental faculties that you have should be directed to the acquisition of new customers into your business and the retention of current customers in your business. Because if you fill your books, you can pretty much name your price at that point. So if you guys don't have a place to keep track of these people, definitely download QuoteIQ. One of the cool things within QuoteIQ is actually, if you pick a contact, you can go down and you can actually see all the estimates, all the invoices, and all the inspection forms that you created for that customer. So that way, when next year rolls around and we can take a look and we said, okay, for Miss Amy, we did a driveway and a house cleaning, we charged $550. Okay, well, we probably need to go up a little bit on that price. And so this year we're going to charge $600, $625. $575, whatever the case may be. We really need to be gradually stepping up on those prices. And if you don't have any kind of previous record of what you charged in the past, you have no way of doing that for some of these customers. So you definitely want to put something like that in place, so that way you can keep track of previous prices that you charged them. Now let's kind of get into how do we raise prices for existing customers and retain them in our business. So if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys, but we do this the same way that any other business raises prices on us. So we probably don't notice because we're just going about our day-to-day lives, but a lot of businesses will tweak prices on us. They'll raise prices. And what do they do when they raise prices? They attribute the increase in price to factors that are outside of their control. So they might say, it's inflation, it's the gas prices, it's the insurance costs, it's, us reinvesting into equipment or building better facilities or bringing more supplies in. Whatever the case may be, they attribute it to something that's outside of their control. Oftentimes it's like a raising of a price of something, and people pretty much understand that. If somebody doesn't want to stick with you, that's probably a customer that you don't want anyway. If they can't understand the increase in operating expenses are actually allowing us to provide a better product to them, that's somebody who doesn't understand our value. Most people will always try to retain their current contractor though, instead of finding a new one. And an example of this I want you guys to think about is like a hairdresser. Like, let's say that the person who cut your hair, which you probably go to the same person every time because they do a great job, let's say that they go up on their price $5 or $10 every single haircut. Are you really gonna switch away from that person? Are you really gonna want to go test the waters and find a new person, explain to them how you like your haircut, and explain to them that you got a weird thing on the side that like makes your head bulge out if they shave it down too low? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're not. You don't want to find somebody else. You've established a relationship with this person. You're comfortable with this person. This person knows how you get your hair cut. And you also want to support them, right? Because they've been cutting your hair for a while. So the same thing is true in your business. We will allow them to raise their prices a little bit because we want to support them. Your customers will also do the same for you if you do a great job for them. So word of the day on this one's going to be price. If you made this far in the video, comment down below price and I'll hashtag you a real one. My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. Check out the web class, check out QuotaQ. And until next time, hustle hard, get that money, baby. Peace.